When I came to Southeast Asia in 2006, I of course started dating immediately. I've done videos about that. You can look them up and watch them. But when I think about this time and the early beginnings, now in hindsight, I must say that it seems that the first few years I kind of met the wrong clientele of women. I stuck with the wrong women. And yes, it's true, especially with the bar girls and stuff, with the freelancers, I've done videos about this, about my past and my history and how it all started, And it's a good question. Why did I attract a certain category of women in the Philippines when it all started? But later in Indonesia, when I moved to Indonesia years later, I attracted different kind of women. Why was that? And this is the topic of today's video. How to attract a good Indonesian woman. Obviously, I was in the wrong circles, if you are spending your time in the bars and other establishments, you will kind of meet a certain category of women only, yeah? But if you, have a job, let's say in Indonesia, and you work with a lot of good girls, then you meet a lot of good girls, right? Or you attract also better girls, So this is what I want to talk to you about today. How to attract a good Indonesian girl, because some of you might consider Indonesia for dating, or I know that some of the guys are about to travel to Indonesia now, and they are thinking about this, how to attract a good girl, how to avoid these scammers, these gold diggers and stuff like that. Where can I find these good girls? Tell me, Marcel, where can I find them? Yeah. And it seems to be a no-brainer, but I will say it anyway. To attract a good girl, you need to be attractive to her, right? But what makes you attractive to an Indonesian girl? No worries, we're gonna talk about this in this video. The old saying, like attracts like, right? It's true, and this is what happened to me in the Philippines. Now in hindsight, I'm way smarter, Like attracts like, huh? And I would say I want to talk about two categories of women today, Indonesian women, and elaborate a little bit. So category number one are the girls, are the women who have, I call them the good girls, women who have character, principles and values, okay? And the second category of girl, I call them the second-rate girls, These are the women with an agenda, These are the ones you want to avoid, You don't want to attract them. Let's talk about the good girls. What is, in my opinion, in my estimation, in my experience, a good girl? A good girl for me is a good Indonesian girl is a girl who has certain criteria, certain values, certain ideals, principles and standards. Yeah. And these girls who have certain principles, certain standards, certain criteria, certain values, they are naturally attracted to guys who have certain principles, values, and standards. Likes attract likes, right? So this is the category number one. Category number two, the second-rate girls or the cheap girls, I call them. Gold diggers, for example, they fall into this category. These girls, they have an agenda, most of them. And of course, these second-rate girls, they are attracted to guys who like to throw cash, yeah? Who like to throw gifts and prizes and all that kind of stuff. And this is what you actually don't want to do. You don't want to show off, because if you show off too much, you know, then there is the risk of attracting these second-rate girls, these gold diggers, you know. So you want to be smart and limit your risk, because showing off or even bragging and posing around, grandstanding and showboating, it carries a big risk actually, you know. So, but you want to limit your risk. It's called risk management, okay? Same as in investing. So risk management, risk is always related to control. So more control you have, so less risk you have eventually. And what is your risk in this case? It's your behavior, you know. How do you portray yourself? How do you act, you know, in public or to this girl or to these women, you know? So your behavior is your great risk. If you control your behavior, you limit. If you control a certain behavior, you automatically also limit your risk of attracting these second-rate girls, you know. But of course, if you want to play Pasha and this kind of stuff, then we have a certain category of women flocking to you, right? What are good Indonesian girls attracted in general towards to, or what are good Indonesian girls attracted to? In general, they are attracted to guys who are, and this is very, very important, this is most likely number one, they are attracted to guys who respect them. This is huge. This is very big in Indonesia. Not only in Indonesia, I know, but when you meet Indonesian women, when you date them, when you have conversation with them, if you're interested in them, if you ask questions, you will find out pretty quickly that they value respect a lot. They are attracted to guys who are polite, considerate, yeah? Guys who are clean, yeah? Guys who have their act together. We talked about this in other videos. Of course, a guy who is joyful, you know, not a grumpy idiot who is complaining all day long. A guy with a great sense of humor. This is very important in Indonesia. Indonesian people are very joyful. They love to crack jokes. They like to laugh. They are funny people. But good Indonesian women are also attracted to guys who make them feel comfortable and make them feel secure. You know, the women want to feel comfortable around you, right? And they are attracted to guys who know what they want, you know, like who are leaders in some sort of way, right? And a guy who has a plan, you know, and also a guy who is interested in not only in them, of course, but also in their culture, you know, and that kind of stuff. This is very important. So if you have these characteristics, if you have these traits, then I think you are highly attractive to Indonesian girls, you know. Now let's talk about why Indonesian girls are attracted to foreigners, especially to Western foreigners, you know. That's a good question. What I know, what I found out over the years, and also while dating and being in a relationship with Indonesian women, and all of my girlfriends, they were way younger than me. So it seems, it's not only seems that way, also the couples I know who are married, good Indonesian girls prefer older foreigner. That's an established fact. This is similar to other Southeast Asian countries. But why is that? What makes them attracted to an older man? It's a good question, right? And the normal age gap in Indonesia is, let's say, between 5 and 15 years, roughly, okay? The age gap between my girlfriend, my Indonesian girlfriend, is now 19 years. I'm 47, she is 28. But in general, you can say it's somewhere between 5 and 15 years, okay? It's not as high as in the Philippines, for example, where you have way larger age gaps, 20 years, 30 years, sometimes even 40 years, But why do these Indonesian girls pick an older man? Yeah, they assume, it's very important, they assume, they don't know, but they assume that you are emotionally stable and financially stable, They don't assume that you are rich or a millionaire, but they assume you have your act together, right? They assume you know what you want, You have an established career. Therefore, you have a job. And you've been working in this job most likely already for at least 20 years, if you're like, let's say, mid-40s or something like that, right? So you have an established career, a job, and you have been making money. So this is what it means to be financially stable. Also, Indonesian women know when they date older men that these guys, they have more life experience. This is just obvious. This is just common sense, but it's the way it is, And of course, they know very well that older guys are more settled, They have not so much, let's say, energy inside themselves in a way that they have to let a certain energy out of the system, These girls know, these older men, they're not jumping around from girl to girl too much anymore, And that's why they want to avoid these younger guys, And I remember when I was younger, I released videos. I'm very transparent about this, I'm not too shy. I'm not shy to talk about my past. I had a lot of energy, and I had a lot of sexual energy and interest, and I had to let it out of my system, But I can tell you today, because I know I can feel it, I'm way calmer than, let's say, 20 years ago, I'm way calmer today. I'm way more settled, And this comes with age, And this is what these girls know. They don't want a jumper, They want an emotionally stable guy, And this is what they prefer. Are all of these older Western foreigners mature, either emotionally or financially or both? Are they mature? Do they know what they want? Are they settled? Not all of them. Unfortunately, especially when you look into the Philippines or to Thailand, right? If you know what's going on there, you will know that there are plenty of Western men in their 40s, in their 50s even, who are actually not mature at all. They are drinkers, they're gamblers, womanizers, hanging around in certain establishments, I'm not saying this is bad, I'm not saying these activities are bad or you shouldn't engage in them. I'm not saying that, but what I say is that good Indonesian women, they are not interested in these kind of activities. A good Indonesian woman don't like that, don't like that. They hate it, They don't want an immature drinker and womanizer who don't have his act together. They want a different sort of man, a leader and provider, a breadwinner, who can eventually lead a family, right? Good girls don't want these kind of men, but you know what kind of girls want these men? These are the bar girls and maybe the gold diggers and the scammers, right? Especially the bar girls. I mean, nothing wrong with bar girls, it's a career choice, you know, but bar girls, they want to drink and they want sex a lot, you know. Drinking because it's their business, you know, so more they drink, so more they earn. That's the business concept in a bar, right? That's why they call them bar girls. They get paid by commission on drinks. And the same with the sex, right? If you pick up a bar girl and you pay for sex, guess where the money is going, right? It goes to the girl. So this is their business concept. So bar girls, they like drinkers, gamblers, and womanizers because they need them, yeah, to secure their financial survival. So it means more business to them. So what you want to do in order to attract a good Indonesian woman is to lead with your personality, with your character and with your charm, with your principles and with your values, right? The stuff we talked about earlier. And you have to be there in these places where you can find also these kind of good girls, you know. I mean, if you go to the bars and to the clubs, if you go to the girly bars, you know what kind of women are there, right? If you go to the clubs, you run the risk also into running into a lot of freelancers. I know that, you know. Jakarta is full of these freelancers. You go to any club in Jakarta, there are a lot of freelancers. If you want these kind of women, okay, go ahead, have fun, enjoy, but don't complain afterwards, you know, that she is not honest or she took your money or whatever. You know, I don't want to hear about these stories, you know. Remember in one of my previous videos I shared the story of one of my colleagues, the German guy who lives in Thailand, married to a Thai woman, how he met her in Bangkok, you know. At the time he was single, so he wanted to date Thai girls, but he didn't want to hang out in the bars and clubs, you know. So he he was thinking about it and was picking places where good girls might hang out. So he did some research and, you know, and picked like shopping malls and stuff like that, office buildings, you know, where they work, you know, and during lunchtime they all come out, they have lunch either in some nearby restaurants or shopping malls or on the street. And this is where he spent his time during lunchtime. He spent his time there where the good girls were, you know, and eventually he met his wife there. So, and this is what you have to do in Indonesia. You have to pay attention to in what kind of circles you are in, you know. It's a little bit noise here again, but anyway. Yeah, definitely you don't want to lead with your wallet, right? We talked about this in different videos as well. Leading with your wallet is cheap. You don't need any game to lead with your wallet, right? And you attract a certain category of women, also in Indonesia. But one of the worst mistakes you can do, I also want to mention this here, is when you think you are this Western foreigner and therefore you are something special. And only the fact that you are now inside of Indonesia, walking down the street or the road or showing up somewhere, that you make the mistake thinking that the girls now come flocking to you or being interested in you, approaching you, asking for your number. This is a complete wrong assumption. Why am I mentioning this? Because I was falling into this trap and I made these mistakes way early in the Philippines, you know, because I was hanging out at the wrong places. I hung out in the bars for a very long time, and I shared this in one of my previous videos. You know, when you enter these girly bars, you know, you are the center of attention suddenly. You pay for it, and girls are come flocking to you. And when you do this a great deal of time, you get used to it, and you start to think, at least I was starting to think that, okay, I'm so handsome, I'm so attractive, the girls will just come flocking to me. And later, when I just was walking down the street, I had that same mindset, and I was wondering, hey, why aren't these girls looking at me? What's wrong with them? Am I not attractive anymore? I'm a foreigner, I'm rich, I thought I was rich. So why suddenly these girls don't seem to be interested in me? Can you see this twisted perception I had at the time? Completely unrealistic and illusory. And this is what some men also have today. So I want to warn you here. Don't make this mistake and be so arrogant just to think, oh, you have white skin, or I don't know what, you're a Western foreigner, and you think you are something special. And yes, you are kind of a hot commodity, but I don't want you to develop this this kind of entitlement, this feeling of entitlement, that you are entitled to a lot of girls and women. Don't make this mistake, please, okay? You have to do your homework, you have to do your job, Yes, Indonesian girls and women are interested in you, they want to date you, they are open, they are very, very tolerant, but don't think you are something super special there, and you just can lean back and the girls do the rest of the job. No. You would have the complete wrong attitude. Okay, so still the best thing to, in my opinion, is to meet in person, though, to get the chemistry going, and have conversation going and stuff like that. And this is also a way you find out if you are attracted to each other or not. This is always the best way to do. So if you can travel to Indonesia, boots on the ground, right? If you have no other choice, still online dating sites are legit and valid. I always still recommend them. But don't spend your time too much on these online dating sites, If you travel to Indonesia, you can start chatting maybe 1 or 2 weeks prior. But let's say you are far away from Indonesia and you started to chat a girl online. Try to meet her in person as soon as possible, okay? And then try to stay at least a month in Indonesia, better 2 months if you can, to establish a strong foundation, kind of, because this is very important later when you go back, when you have to continue with an LDR, with a long distance relationship, you need to have a certain foundation. Just chatting up a girl online and remaining online is not having a relationship. You have a connection, that's all good, but you certainly do not have a long distance relationship. So now you might ask, Marcel, now you were telling us how to attract good Indonesian girls. But how do I know that I do not attract a gold digger? Can gold diggers also be attracted to me? Yeah, of course they can, for sure. In the beginning you never know. Is she a good girl or a gold digger? Of course, you can rule out certain things. We talked about your behavior, what kind of behavior not to display, what locations to avoid. This is the very important first steps you need to do in order to avoid a certain category of women. But still, there are plenty of scammers and gold diggers around, maybe, So how do you know? In the beginning you don't know. But I can tell you one thing, these gold diggers, they don't care about your character so much, and if you are polite and considerate and humorous and thoughtful. They don't care about that. They don't care about your money and your wallet, And it is your job to find out about it, and it will take some time, Of course, you meet this girl, you start to date her maybe, or maybe you consider yourself even already in a relationship with this girl, but it is your job to find out whether she is a gold digger or not. And you will find out if you pay attention, and this is very important. Yeah? Paying attention. Yeah? You have to observe her behavior. Yeah? You have to pay attention, and then you start to evaluate, and then you will start to understand about her and her behavior. You will learn, and then you start to discern, right? And then you also will learn about red flags and stuff like that. And eventually you will make a judgment which will lead to a certain decision. And then you will decide, because you have learned either she is a good girl or is she a gold digger. And if you found out, because of your attention skills and your ability to observe and evaluate properly, and to discern properly, if she is a second-rate cheap girl, then you have to dump her, right? But these skills, these abilities, you have to develop for yourself, and they are very important, especially when dating in Southeast Asian countries. They are important anywhere, but remember, you as a Western guy, you are coming from a Western country with different cultural background, dynamics and history, and you're coming to Indonesia. So these, your observation skills, your evaluation skills, your discerning skills, your attention is very important. So sooner you find them, you find the red flags, so easier for you. So with that being said, I'm checking out for today. I hope I could make it a little bit clearer to you now today with this video, how to attract a good Indonesian girl. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment sections. In the comment section, let us know. Yeah, and I'm eager to know what you have to say. I know there are many guys who are married to Indonesian women. I want to know how did you attract this woman? How did it all start, Did you also run into some gold diggers, into some scammers in the beginning because you did not observe her behavior correctly? So share your stories with us. They're always very interesting. We want to know them. We want to learn. It's for the sake of education also. Okay, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm gonna see you in one of my next videos. Take care. Bye bye.